Spiral, 2 Jews, 2 mics, 2 hours, starting now.
Yeah, though.
Hi.
Grand Central Station. Hey, City Morgue, you kill 'em, we'll chill 'em.
People are dying to get in.
Good afternoon. I say good afternoon because it really is the afternoon.
It actually is, yes.
How do I sound?
You sound like you've been out already.
I know, I really have. We've been over the Howie Mandel. Oh, we can't tip it, right?
I think we can.
Can we tip it? Yeah, we can say anything we want.
I don't think that there's a huge crossover between attendees of the festival.
And listeners?
And listeners, yes.
So it's not going to be one of those things that goes viral. Kindler's still in L.A. He's in L.A. He's a big liar. Yes.
Yes.
If you listen to the podcast, though, where you're listening to this podcast next Monday, 65 degrees downtown Los Angeles. Coming up, the quiet storm. The quiet storm. With your host, Andy Kind. Hi, I'm Andy Kind. I feel good today. I like you. Here's something that's good. Kind of good. Okay, forget it. Yeah, I don't think it works. It doesn't work.
You were out in space there for a little bit.
I'm not cut out for that. Whatever that was.
You kind of, I don't know. You sort of went into like a self-help guru DJ.
Yes, I was trying to do the.
Are you drinking from a thermos now?
No. The coffee came from a thermos because, okay. God forbid, it should be room. It's not hot.
Gotcha.
Wasn't there someone? Was there anyone famous who had a calming voice? I don't think so. Right? It was just computer generated the quiet storm, but there was nobody who was like, "Yeah, I'm back, Zach Sloman. Hey, take a nap, everybody." No, nobody was like.
Besides Zach Sloman, no.
I've been in a car with Josh today.
It's true, and a room, which is both are the first time in like over 2 years we've been in either.
That's right. You said that, and it did nothing hit. You know what? When you're at a Howie Mandel event, when you're meeting Howie Mandel, you don't have time to think about anything else.
That's right.
Did you have fun over there? It was fun to hear about. I never had heard about Howie's, original coming out of OCD.
Yeah.
And I also didn't remember that when I came out here to LA, I would have always liked to have imagined myself as being honest because I was a musician at the time. Hey, I'm going to tell you what the deal is. I realized I didn't tell anybody except my girlfriend that I thought I'd hit somebody in the car. I didn't tell. I told maybe it's people in the band once I knew them.
Yeah. But it's not something that you would tell somebody because then you'd have a whole other train of, I wonder if they think I hit somebody with my car.
That's exactly right. And also, I didn't, unlike what Howie was saying, it's so common. That's one of Howie, our personal friend Howie Mandel, he was saying it's actually more common than even I thought it was.
Yeah.
Thinking you hit somebody in a car.
Yeah, no, I've heard that from more than you.
The worst one I ever heard was that someone thought that they may have mailed their family member. So, I mean, that's how ridiculous it gets.
They may have mailed their family letter?
Put their family member in an envelope.
Wow.
I don't think, or maybe they were checking to make sure that they didn't. Those people are crazy. What I had was just regular old garden variety compulsion.
I think there's a lot of people who triple check the mail door to the mailbox to see.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But as Howie, my friend, was saying, everybody thinks they have OCD, and we've talked about this before. It's a continuum. People have aspects of it, but it doesn't. It has to be torturing you for it to be OCD. The
difference between anxiety and OCD is kind of like the difference between, hey, I like to drink on the weekends and alcoholism.
It's true. And a lot of times I will not enjoy your comparisons, your metaphors. What's the difference between a metaphor and a simile? Or simile, something that sounds similar, right? No, I'm just going by the sound.
The mnemonic device I always use is the similar, which means it uses like or as in a simile.
That helps me.
Whereas
similar, or as.
Whereas a metaphor is a direct thing.
Yes.
You are a monkey.
Right. Well, and I think that's the closest one. I look like I have monkeypox.
Right.
That would be what people would. Why did you say
this
that?
This guy's a monkey is a metaphor. He's a lot like a monkey is a simile.
See how it works? I don't like this monkeypox one bit. And the other thing I don't like about it is I don't want pustules.
Yeah, well, the fact that it requires close human contact.
Oh, that's true.
Takes
that's
you
true.
right off the monkeypox.
In other words, it's not just on a plane.
You are not signed up for monkeypox prime.
A couple of times, though, in the supermarket, like I'll see an old friend and we'll like rub our skin like, hey, buddy, and like for 15, 20 minutes, that could do it.
That's not a helpful behavior in this day and age, no.
Of course, that's after sex.
Ah.
What do you think of his face?
It's not Thought Spiral without Andy's homophobic reference.
That's not nice. That wasn't... You can't call my obsession with talking about things of that nature as me having an issue. I talk about it the same reason why 95% of the comedy in the 80s was based on making fun of gay people, and because it's funny. It's just funny, people. All right. I can't do sarcasm today, so forget it.
No, you can't.
I mean, you have to admit, I don't have to admit, I was of the age where where I did not think any of these people, like Paul Lynde, was gay. I didn't even, first of all, I wasn't thinking when I was a kid about who was gay so much. Later.
Sure.
I don't know what. Yeah, okay. Let's leave it.
Well, if it's any solace to you, I was very aware you were a Jew.
I forgot who told me this, but who's that guy? Anthony. What was his name?
Kiedis?
Anthony from Boston. And he kind of sounded like Paul Lynde.
Clark?
He was on. Yes. Let's go to the cabana. Okay, look, you're off your game today. I like when I didn't know what they were talking about with the screens today.
Yeah.
What is he saying with the screen? There's going to be a box similar to my box?
No. Bruce was saying that they need to put those like jumbo screens on the side that they would use for stuff.
Oh yeah, why not? Right.
Because it's not a hologram anymore. Then it's just
he has to be just. Are we going to dissuade him of that then? It has to be a hologram. We have to show we don't want it to look like a good color movie.
Right.
Wouldn't that be terrible? Well, we put those screens in. Now you can't see the effect.
All right.
You have to have they have to have a little booth over there. Is that what they got to have?
Yeah, they're going to have the other one that was on the left. It's going to be like that one.
That's so exciting. I can't believe it. And what I learned, and please, anybody who hears this podcast, do not tip it off.
They're very concerned that if they promote it as Andy Kindler as a hologram, people will just think, pfft. Literally, that's the only thing they'll think is, pfft. They'll think it's a Zoom. They'll think it's like Zoom comedy, which of course it is.
It's not Zoom comedy.
It's very close. It's very close to. It's full body. It's full body Zoom comedy.
Are you saying that on a normal Zoom call you have access to that much technology?
Are you saying we're going to use that much of that technology?
I can't. I should be able to continue parrying, but I think it's the structure of our parry that has already defeated me. Are you so sure that you're not going to beat? Is that how it starts? Are you so sure that you're not the one who's wrong? Are you so sure that you're not the one who has problems with their gayness and how they look at themselves? All right, Andy. Okay.
You do look super gay as a hologram.
Super gay. All right. Now, look, we're going to get letters again. We've never had one person complain to us, have we? Or maybe they would complain.
I think we've had a few complaints, but not ones that stuck hard.
Oh, I mean, we've had complaints that people hate the show. Sure. Sure. Or, this
Actually,
is what I hear.
fewer than I think, A, we deserve, and B, that I expected.
And don't put it in a review. That's the thing you have to remember.
Yeah.
To do. It's not a good... They got to redo the system of deciding on...
But it was interesting. It was an interesting scene with the Howie in Howieville.
Yeah, he owns that whole area.
Oh yeah, and you feel it. You feel it in the room that he's used to being in charge now.
Yeah, he does, and you know what? He does enjoy being in charge. I've seen.
I think he does.
Find me my music stand, he will say, and before people can say anything, he goes, "Not that one," or whatever.
Right.
There seems to be they don't understand what he's saying, and that's the way the relationship works.
Yeah.
But you don't want to aggravate him.
But they want him to feel heard.
Right. And he's got a nice compound over there. I mean, I wouldn't hang out there, but if I had
a giant hologram setup, I might.
Exactly. He's got let's just say Howie's doing okay.
I think he's fine.
Oh, so I met you at the Howie Mandel area, and my lift was $50. Now something has changed in the price.
Things have changed in Liftville. It's no longer subsidized like the early days. Part
of me's wants to punch myself in the face and say, "Oh, you really thought it was normal to go to Long Beach for $12? Is that what you thought?"
Right.
It was a normal.
There was a bait and switch element to all their introductions.
But I didn't expect $50 to go to Van Nuys.
Right. No, that's a lot, and I feel bad for not picking you up now.
No, don't feel bad. But what they did was, this is not how stupid I am, because we don't like to say that, right?
I don't care if you call yourself stupid.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, we don't like, but wouldn't you prefer I wouldn't refer to myself as an idiot?
No, I think it saves me time.
Okay, good. So they have all kinds of, I got out downstairs, it had to be at 11, got downstairs at 10:20. It's literally 15 minutes away, but I didn't think, oh, there'll be more lifts. It's going to be better. No, it's going to be. So then all of a sudden I saw the prices come up, and then the one that was going to get me there earliest and for a reasonable price was a share, right?
Yeah.
So I pressed the share and I go, what the fuck am I doing? I'm not. The whole point is not to be near people breathing,
right.
You stupid idiot. And so I just went the standard lift.
Yeah.
Can you imagine me telling Susan, so what I did, you'll love what I did to save $7 in 10 minutes. We got did you know you can get 5 people in one of those Subarus? It's unbelievable. Everyone had a mask. I'm not sharing anything right. Don't you think it's a bad time period for share things?
It is. I was even surprised you wanted to be in the car with me.
Oh, I was worried about that too. About getting sick. Yeah, I'm worried about that.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the variant because you could have it. You don't know.
You could too, fucker.
No, you more.
No.
Look at that jacket. Look at that shirt you're wearing. You're screaming, give me a variant.
I put out a mask in the car for you.
That was so nice. You did not have to do that going back. That was very nice. Thank you for that. Because that didn't do anything but discomfort you.
It was really not a big deal.
But do you notice now that the pandemic's been here, I think 12 or 11 years, I now can relate more than I could relate then to how restrictive a mask does feel.
You know what I mean? Restrictive.
Like you feel like,
yeah,
you want to get
if it's
off.
A good mask, especially.
Yes. Yes.
Like so, I have to wear one when I'm doing working with my trainer, but I just wear a surgical one because I can't do
right.
That. Yeah.
I have N95s,
and even that makes you really wish there was more air available.
Yeah. Oh, the surgical mask is rough
for work when you're working out.
When you're working out, yeah. It's the last time I went into a voiceover, I'm proud to say they didn't have to tell me to take my mask off for the reading.
Yeah.
I was ready to go.
That's good. But I was totally surprised that it wasn't full-on Maskville at Howie Mandel's place.
Yeah, I did too, because... Especially
considering he jumped out of his fucking skin when you sneezed. So.
I did sneeze, and I really felt terrible about it. That's great, Andy. But he knew that I didn't have anything. And he also, I think, knew, even as frightened as he was, as he should be, he was very far away from me.
Yes, but it was still just the amount that it was clearly a jolt to his nervous system. Even.
I don't take pleasure in that.
I did.
You do, because you're relative. Here's the thing. If you're relatively well-adjusted and you don't have any nervous tics or conditions, it's all hilarious. People with panic attacks.
More is hilarious.
More is hilarious. I'm not saying that you really laugh at people when you.
But also the stakes were low. It's not like Howie Mandel's going to remember me after today.
I don't think he remembered us while we were there.
Exactly.
I love to see what people think, how people think when they don't know somebody, because it's just like, you don't know. I've met these types of people in my life. Meeting a stranger. You give them your keys because you think they're there to pull your car around. Or, I mean, I've seen people in I guess maybe more in show business, where it seems to have a lot invested in making people feel that they're, but there's a look that people have sometimes where they're like, who's this? Is this your uncle? I can't explain what I'm saying. You know what I mean? In a way. When during that meeting.
You have to be of a certain stature in order to have an entourage with you.
That's right. Exactly.
And you are not of entourage stature.
The TV show Entourage, if you're saying.
Yeah. But Bruce, you did have it. You had Bruce, your manager, there.
Yes, he did come there. I didn't I mean, I'm not saying I asked him. He said he would come there.
It's good, it's good manager behavior.
Yeah. So,
and he was nicer to me, I think, than I think I was our best interaction.
That makes me happy. Yeah. I mean, not that you know, it's not, one of my. But
it was literally a hi, Josh, instead of something snide out of the gate.
He tries to be funny out of the gate?
He does.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
Well, he is funny,
is better.
Actually.
No, I think he's a funny guy.
He is a funny guy, but he also wrote the first line of the flyer.
Yeah, that was a mistake. Some things you don't delegate.
Why do I have the urge to throw people under the bus? Because I have a microphone, I think.
My manager actually sends me drafts of things he's sending for other clients to give them a once-over.
Your current one or the old days?
My current one.
I was going to ask you how you're enjoying your manager, but that's one of those questions that I ask. Early podcast questions.
Right.
How is your relationship like?
My relationship is great. There's not a whole lot you can fucking do, but he's he brought me a script a couple weeks ago to look at as a director, which is cool.
Cool.
It wasn't something that I could get on board with, but nonetheless, that's the exact kind of thing I like for him to do.
And are you looking at sitcoms and things like that, or no?
I'm really not. I mean, they've made it fairly clear to me that the 51-year-old white guy slot isn't a ubiquitous position.
They don't say that really.
They kind of do. They were
the look makes it.
There was I don't know. I at least got a shocking amount of directness about it from my agent. So, and that's okay. That's fine. It's not like I actually want to do that.
Right.
So the thing I want to do is direct. I want to either direct a doc or direct a scripted movie, and I probably have to write the scripted movie to direct it because I don't know that
Yeah.
Besides,
is that what you got
way
a manager
outside
for?
of Hollywood, I'm probably not going to be on anyone's short list to direct until I do my own feature.
Right, but you have a track record. People see some of these things.
As a doc, I feel perfectly good going. Give me money to direct a doc.
Oh, you're saying that you'd rather direct like a comedy film of some type,
or some sort of some sort of
project.
That's the one thing I want to do that I haven't done is direct a feature film, a scripted feature film.
Is that what your manager is representing you for? Or is it across the board, whatever you want to do?
It's showbiz general practitioner.
That would be a good. I would respect somebody who added that to them.
That's my Twitter bio. Or comedy general practitioner, I think that's it.
Comedy general practitioner. How come I haven't looked at that? Why am I not looking more at your Twitter bio?
I don't know.
These days.
I don't know. Maybe you know the story by now.
No, I don't know well, I look at my Twitter thing. I still think, I should fix this one thing, and then I don't. But that's another story.
Yes.
Can you see me okay today? I didn't see if I'm framed.
No, don't.
I just wrote that.
Huh?
That's all I have so far. It's like, does Paul McCartney have boring stories about why he came up with things in songs? Or is that just inherently boring? It will never be interesting once you know that Penny Lane was something or whatever. I'm asking not argumentatively. I'm asking.
There's. I mean, I think it's back and forth. I think there are some songs that have a good backstory and most that don't.
Scrambled Eggs. That's not a bad one.
No, that's a terrible one.
Is that one that I'm making up, or that's true?
It's one that's true, but it's not that good. I mean, it was just a placeholder. It was just a fucking placeholder that he used until he thought of words.
Oh, wait. Can I?
It wasn't like they were going to put it out as scrambled eggs, and he went, "Wait a minute, lads!" You know, it was.
Paul, can you verify this thing? Then you're saying that scrambled eggs was never a lyric in the song.
It was never a lyric.
It's something you said on the way.
It was something he was going as he was figuring out the lyrics. He would be scrambled eggs. Da, 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 da.
So
and that was, and as you'll see in that movie Get Back, that is the method that they used. They just put in words until something stuck.
Oh, that's pretty good. So what if he didn't have a word? He could just go, schmicky doo.
That's what you would do. That would be your scrambled eggs. Exactly.
This is a great podcast. Inside the comedy, get inside the artist's mind with Josh Weinstein and Andy Kindler on.
I'm a big Process fan, but how I wrote that song don't make
it's not one of your.
It's not good stories. It was actually, I enjoyed that about Get Back. Was there several songs that you see pretty much from their inception to their recording? You know,
I got to see this. Is this Disney Plus again?
Yeah.
Why am I not watching these things? Wait, when they're on top of the roof? I thought that was the ending of Let It Be. What am I missing?
You are missing the fact that it's all the same footage recut by a different director. It's actually none of the same footage because he made the point of not using any shots from Let It Be. Stop waving to your wife. Just stop waving to your wife while I'm talking. Just stop waving to your wife.
I just came in. Hold on. You don't have that good a relationship with your wife that you're like.
I save it for your wife.
Okay, so it was all from the same batch of stuff, but Get Back was released? No, there was no Get Back. Get Back is new.
Get Back is the Peter Jackson one that's new. Yes.
I have to watch it, and so I stopped.
Where he
talking
took all the
about it.
footage that was shot during the Let It Be sessions and made a new product out of it.
And it's delightful, I'm sure. I'm going to have to get Disney Plus. I think you'll
like it. I don't know that you'll like that much other stuff on Disney Plus, but it would at least be able to make you watch Star Wars and learn the "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope" reference.
That's my favorite line. It's from the third movie, right?
Nope.
Wait, did you say Obi-Wan Kenobi in that line?
Yes, I did.
That's from the Strikes Back.
No, it's not.
Oh. I don't think you're telling me. I think what you're doing now as I get older is you're pretending that things were popular. And you're telling me lines from famous movies.
It is the most famous hologram reference in movie history.
I don't get the hologram connection between I'll have to look it up, right?
I'll send you a link.
Okay.
To the movie Star Wars.
Oh, if you do send it to me, it's the ones that he redid, though, right? I only want to see those, the ones he redid.
He fucked with all of them, though.
But when you watch Star Wars, if you do, you'd watch the original one, right? You wouldn't watch his crap.
Well, I mean, it's all his crap, sort of.
So this is how our lives are completely different.
Yeah.
You got into the Star Wars thing.
Yeah, because I was 6.
Right. I loved the movie when it came out, but I was probably too old for it.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it in the movie theater.
Oh, okay.
I saw R3 in the movie theater. You just
didn't remember any of it.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't remember this thing you're talking about. And then I got attracted to the later ones only because it seemed like they were really doing horrible things with that Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, that was
So I got
awful.
curious about how bad that was.
Yeah. Very bad.
It's like racist, right? Is that what it is?
It was kind of racist because it was very sort of bad Jamaican patois kind of thing going on.
That's funny. I love when you describe how horrible something is. But it's patois, right?
Yeah.
I love that word. French, Patois, patois.
See. What?
See, and I only do that to prove that, and I only do things like that to show that I'm not stupid. You see how it works?
Yeah, that's good.
No, it's obnoxious.
No.
But that's where the obnoxiousness comes from.
I understand, Chef Bloardi.
Peut-être. That's perhaps in French.
Oui.
So,
C'est vrai.
Josh, it's not, what's that?
C'est vrai.
You have a certain sang-froid, which I'm not sure what that is.
Everybody sang for tonight. Everybody sang for tonight.
I think I helped that comedy right there. Here's what I did.
Yes.
Do you want me to come over when you're doing some of the stings?
Sure, please.
Let me tell you something. Your voice, I don't know if what you used on your voice. You didn't use auto. Did you use auto-tune? I mean, it just sounds so great.
No, I didn't.
Auto-tune is something you have to go out and get, right?
Yeah.
It's an extra thing.
It's an extra thing.
And doesn't it always kind of sound weird?
No. There's tasteful use of it, and then there's over-deliberate use of it, like in hip-hop.
Like where?
Like in hip-hop.
Oh. Yeah. I want, and then there's Milli Vanilli, which I don't understand what the whole hubbub was about. I enjoyed those guys. I don't care if they were singing it. I don't care if they were lip syncing it. I don't care if they were holograms. I liked Milli Vanilli, and that's it.
All right.
I still like Milli Vanilli.
I think that's the hilly vanilli you should die on.
Now I'm going to do my Boy George chunk. All right, look. I love Boy George, so I wouldn't be doing a chunk like that. That's how... You look very almost like you could be going fishing right now.
I could be going fishing right now.
What is your take on the guy who won the British Open? And I love him. I can't get past the mullet, and I know that's wrong of me. The guy not only has a mullet.
Yeah.
Cam Smith. He has a mullet. It's a terrible mullet. He has no hair or something, and it's of a different color, and it descends down his back like a little rat tail.
Yeah.
He can't think that looks good. And then I'm saying to myself, what is your problem? When are you going to win a goddamn British Open, you stupid, critical Jew? I say to myself.
Where's your funny physical hook? Oh, right. I just saw it today.
And so he's talking after he won. You can't listen to him, Josh.
It's like a talking mullet.
And he's getting congratulations from other people with mullets, like John Daly. I mean, I found it. I do get angry at myself. I do feel like as I'm getting older, maybe a feature of getting older is even if you don't turn into one of these, well, why do they have the long hair? You start to think things look more peculiar.
I think there's that, but I think there's a split. I think there's what's wrong with these fucking freaks kind of old people, and there's whatever, live and let live old people. God bless them.
That's why that was one of the best ones they had of those commercials where you're turning into your parents, where they couldn't stop looking at the guy.
I know
with
he has blue hair. We know he has blue hair. We don't have to mention it. Blue hair.
Yeah. So I say to myself, why am I looking? So I'll look at TV and go, wow, it's like my father. My father, if he was watching TV and a arguably peculiar looking person came on,
yeah,
he couldn't help but to go, what a peculiar looking person.
Get a load.
I mean, he had no.
Get a load of him.
What's that?
Get a load of him.
Like it's exactly like the great comic who passed away, Meanie, used to talk about with his parents.
Yeah, or Louis.
Look at them, look at them, look at them.
Right. Louie's dad, too. Did you just nod off?
Yeah, no, I spaced out. Who's dad?
Louis Anderson?
Oh, right. Right. No, I spaced out on that. There was that Louis Anderson. Oh, that's right. He did do. That's a similar thing that they
Similar dad, yeah.
Yeah. Crossover dads. Crossover dads. Are you feeling good?
I'm feeling
I saw
fine.
you or just your back.
You saw what?
I'll show you what I saw. Like one of these where you're stretching your back.
Huh.
And so I was wrong, right?
No, I might have done that.
Because here's what I'm learning in therapy. I assume you know this, not so much anymore, but I interpret every look as being, every uncomfortable look as being directed at me.
All right.
So, my last therapy
And that's
session,
especially wrong with me because I have such a rich inner life.
I apologize. I opened up my therapy session, and I say, "How are you?" Because she just came back from a trip, and she goes, "No, I'm good," but I could tell something was wrong. So I was thinking about it for 15 to 20 minutes, and then I had to stop the session because this is what the session is supposed to be about.
All right.
How your mind goes like that. And what happened was that her eyes were bothering her.
Ah.
So, but if you...
But what you heard is, oh, I'm all right, except for I have to talk to you now.
It even went further than that. That's the first read.
Yeah.
Deeper is, because I told her all this, I was like, oh my God, what if she had a terrible thing happen to her? What if she's going to die and I don't have a therapist?
Oh, ouch.
You're saying that, but this is exactly what she likes to hear from me.
Sure. If you're if you can get that self-aware that clearly, that's good.
Yeah. So, it was interesting because a lot of my life has been like going down a road where I'm feeling the emotion of something that wasn't there or I'm certainly, in this case, you could say I'm more aware than most people. So most people maybe wouldn't notice that she'd made a face, even though, so I like to think, oh, I'm really aware of what people think. No, I'm really hyper aware, but I don't know what they're thinking. I just notice it.
Right.
You know, like right now, in my mind, that could be it. That could be it.
Is that body language?
Well, what do you think? You're so tired that also you have to wave air into your mouth?
No, it's a good story.
It doesn't have to be a good story. You just have to acknowledge that it's... You know what? I still think the snore works. And we've been doing it 7 or 8 years.
I sent my hologram to the therapist. She said, "You're projecting."
We're going to use that one, right?
I already wrote it down, yeah.
That's all I care about. You can use that one. The other thing is that, not that to, I hate to dominate the conversation. I'm sick to my stomach about the thing. I mean, definitely better than I'm not going.
Yeah.
But I'm sick to my stomach about the speech like I get every year. Not as bad because I think I'm healthier. So I stop the panic.
Well, you have like a support team this year too.
Yes. There's no reason. And this is the truth. There really is no reason why this should be an
What's really funny
process.
is how much better a thing Howie imagines it to be.
You do that. You do get the feeling he thinks it's
He's
going
never
to be a
seen
solution.
it in his life, he said. So he has no idea what it is. He has no idea that it's like stuttering, fumbling.
Well, first of all, I'm insulted to find out he has no idea how many times I've made fun of him.
I know, isn't that great?
I guess it is great, but then the shoe could drop.
It could. He could go archival, but I think he's a little too self-absorbed for that, frankly.
Archival. I'm very confused about archival these days, but don't get me started on it.
Why?
I archived the video, and I couldn't find it for about 25 years. I thought archive means it's going to go in the archive. You get it anytime.
Well, you weren't
want.
supposed to bury it in the cornerstone of a building, Andy.
That sounds like something. What is it? Okay. I just realized what the cornerstone was, so I didn't have to ask you. It's like a thing, because Schminky Buildings this year.
Yeah.
Bobby and Sue Schmeckel.
Right. And presumably the first stone laid of the building.
Oh. I'd have to go to see a Trump property to see if that's really true.
Yes.
He's been built. Josh.
Low, 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 low.
That was it. That was the wall.
No, that's right. The lull. I said, I'm not going to say anything, but I said, Josh.
Yeah, you did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and personally, you can see right through me.
Well, it's just, whenever you say someone's name like that, there's a cry for help element to it.
Yes. Most questions that are asked on a podcast, well, we can't go. I mean, we break all the rules on our podcast,
Yeah,
right? Having a following.
Right. Being entertaining. Providing a service.
Doing something unique. We break all the rules.
That's right.
Talk about things you can only find. Well, I mean, there's probably not that many two-Jew podcasts. Two-handers. Two-handers.
Jew-handers.
Jew-handers. I would bet there's not a lot. I would bet that we're not up against, who's the guy who I always think of as Jewish? He was in the Last Comic Standing. He's got like Dan Natterman.
Who's the guy I always think of as Jewish?
Is that right?
That's what you asked me. Yes.
Yeah, don't you?
You got it right. I don't know who that is.
I know you don't.
Yeah.
He was in Last Comic Standing. He's very funny.
Were you a judge of his?
No. It was how many people... I'm trying to think of how many people, actual Jewish comedians, did a full-on Jewish shtick. You got Mel Brooks, Carl Reiner.
No, not so much.
He went the other way, Carl Reiner.
Well, I mean, there was a ton of them in the Borscht Belt.
Like, yeah, the guys who are like
Myron Cohn, for example.
Myron Cohn,
Jackie Mason was practically Jew face.
Jackie Vernon, I don't know. Is that more like he sounds like a New York guy?
Yeah, it was the same thing.
All right, so I'm not going to write the book about how actually there's not as many Jewish comics who present the stereotype.
Shecky Green goes pretty Jewy.
I am embarrassed to say that I don't think I've ever seen Shecky Green. I
think you would actually love Shecky Green. Because he was sort of an early meta Kindler type.
Yeah, how would I see him though? Is there places?
Go onto YouTube and just put in Shecky Green, and a bunch of sets will come up, and you'll go down the rabbit hole.
But not him driving into the hotel. That you can't get on the.
No.
I find it. Oh, you know what?
But you can find lots of people telling Shecky Green stories. I bet if you dig.
I know. Yeah. Well, the Shecky Green story about that's enough. When with Sinatra.
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra saved my life. I was getting beaten up by a bunch of his goons. And Frank Sinatra came by and said, "Okay, that's enough, fellas."
Yeah.
How good was that?
Not that good, considering you've never seen Shecky Green.
Oh, I was doing him as Jackie Vernon. Oh, I've only heard other comics tell that story.
Yeah.
I don't know why I feel like the fact that I used to lie and pretend to be an encyclopedia of comedy and music and everything, why that matters now. It doesn't matter now. I still think I have to defend the fact that I don't know anything. Nobody expects me to know.
No.
There's no reason why
no one
I
on
should
the
know
show
these
does,
things.
at least.
Right. Like, I know Sam Levinson, who was a very funny Jewish humorist, but he came and spoke at my temple.
Yeah, whereas I don't know who that is, and I'm happy to say so.
Right. So, you're good with what you do, and also on the other side of the thing, I'm also fine.
Sure.
With what I'm doing.
Sure.
How's the fence looking? Is it all done?
It's done today. It will be. that they were screwing on the hinges for the gate when I pulled in.
Like I tell you, and I told you this Friday, when you decide what color you want it to be, it is going to be a knockout. I would go with like a tortoise shell green.
Uh-huh.
I don't think there is a tortoise shell green. It's such a beautiful fence. It makes me want to put either a tetherball thing back there.
Yeah.
That's the worst sport.
I fucking love tetherball. You have a big. I'm totally against you on this premise right now.
Well, you'd beat me at tetherball.
I would beat you badly. I was really good at it.
Well, I was really good at it by cheating.
Sure.
I would kind of hold the ball.
Do the throwing more than the hitting.
Yeah, and why did nobody stop me?
Because you think.
Because you have to hit it with your thing. Yeah,
you don't have to hit it with your fist, but you can hit it with an open hand. But
I don't want to go up again. Do you have one? Now I think maybe you have one back.
No, now I kind of want one though.
I would be concerned that I would be tethered to my tetherball machine. Yeah. Boom. Did you hate the time period where people would do this? Bing! And they would lick their hand. Bing! I hate that. Why do I hate that?
I don't know, because it means someone was getting one up on you.
And then it bothered me, not when Letterman does, but when people do the thing where they go, oh, he makes a shtick out of it.
Yeah.
Where uses liquid from his mouth to turn the pages.
Yeah. You've never done that to get friction?
No, that's also a sad story of my life.
Yeah. It's because your hands are that clammy.
That's not nice. You know, people aren't going to think
the sweaty-handed people of the world don't need to lick their fingers.
I think Josh is giving you a wrong idea of me. If you ever saw me in person, which you won't, again, I'm a cool as a cucumber. And
I just rode in a car with you. It was like having an old man air freshener hanging from the mirror.
I like that. I get the feeling of that idea of me. I'm showered, hopefully. And you see the essence of me exuding off into the car. It was like having what are those things called?
Air fresheners.
Oh, okay. And I'll tell you something. If you have anyone in your life who has an allergy, don't put them in a car with one of those.
Or someone like me who just fucking hates it like poison.
Yeah. Jen Kirkman.
I hate scents in general.
Oh, I see. So you don't even, I know we've talked about this. You don't even go, which I understand. I have the perfect scent from John Varvatos.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's
As
so
I
good.
said, I was just in a car with you, Andy.
What? Oh, now I'm really hurt. I have to go. I'm going to text you that I'm really hurt during the podcast. Did you get it?
LOL.
See, if people didn't know you, they would think that you're some kind of cruel man.
They would think that. But even Howie said, this is the show, when he referring to the two of us.
I asked him again when I got there how he was doing.
Yeah.
Horrible. He's not doing well.
He's not doing well.
And I really do feel bad for someone like him because he is in the worst profession for his disease.
I don't think that's true.
You think it actually gets him? Why? You think he'd feel isolated?
Because I think if he was, say, in another profession, he'd have less money and still be miserable.
Right. True.
And I still think he likes attention.
But I don't, right. But I think he was really freaked out. I think he really gets freaked out.
I think he does too, but.
Yeah.
That's true of an actual notable percentage of comedians.
Oh, I see. That's a good point. I never thought about that. That we make a meal out of everything.
Yes. There are plenty of comedians white knuckling through life.
Right. Who don't necessarily mention it.
Yes.
No, and you're not saying don't mention it.
I'm not saying don't mention it. I'm not saying suck it up. There's other comics. I'm saying, take some comfort in the fact that there's other comics, but that it's not quite as I don't think it's as crippling as you ascribe it to be to other people. I think they just it's built into life the way it is for you or me. You know?
Right.
And by that I mean you.
Right, but when you talked me down from suicide or whatever I was feeling in New York, you could tell I wasn't putting it on that day.
Yes, it did not feel like an affectation that day.
I was not trying to get attention.
No, you were. But
I was.
But it was a different kind you were looking for. Thank God I had it that day.
I'm looking back. It's like Susan was looking back at we still have stuff from my sister. I have stuff from my sister and my mother that, I'm not alone in this. I can't get rid of it,
Yeah.
And I'm afraid I'm going to lose it too. So
that's the one. That's, you can be afraid you're going to be stuck with it your whole life, but being afraid of losing it's unreasonable.
Yeah. But Susan has one where my sister was saying, no, you shouldn't come, telling her not to come the last time I came.
Yeah.
And just it's unbelievable. I mean, to everybody it's a whirlwind, but just this I really have so little memory of that week, because that week went into the pandemic and also the tragedies happened. It's just weird. Because I keep going.
That week being the last time you were in New York.
In New York,
yeah.
Because I think now I wouldn't have gone to visit my mother now. Like if
but you had come from Montreal, didn't you? Or was this
no?
That was just a separate trip to.
That was a separate trip.
Right.
I'd seen her earlier. No, I came alone, and it was almost like for some reason had. So much wanted to see my mother one more time that I was like tunnel visioned. Also, it hadn't happened yet. It happened the day when I came back. Nobody really knew what was going to happen necessarily, but Susan was
when you're
out.
the kid of someone whose mother is ailing and probably dying, you fucking go see him because that's what that's what every cell is telling you should do.
Right. So I definitely could feel how. I'll never forget how it felt to be in that mode. And it's just
no, I have absolutely stark vivid memories of both flights home, my final flight home to see my dad and my final flight home to see my mom. Those are both vivid memories.
When you travel to see your loved ones, it's always hard,
Yeah.
But on a lighter note, what's up with I don't know. Why can't I just let the moments lay there? Lay there? We don't want them to lay there.
Laying there.
No, that's not good.
It was marinating.
Mark, marinating.
No,
don't do it, Andy. Is tonight the All-Star game, or is it next Monday night?
I don't know.
It's the All-Star break.
Yeah. Then it's this week. I don't know if it's tonight or tomorrow. Everything okay?
No, it's not that I'm not feeling okay. It's just like I'm confronting the fact that why can't I just sit and relax? I think I'm starting to do it.
Yeah.
But what I usually do is I make a look towards you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I make a searching look towards you. This is like saying, hey, go into some anecdote or concern of yours.
Oh, I have concerns.
You got me excited about getting a new car. I'll tell you that. I want a new car now.
Yeah.
I deserve one more car before I die.
I think you deserve at least one more car before you die.
I know. I think I really.
Or maybe one car and one scooter thing.
You mean a hover round?
Yeah, something like that.
I would like to end up with a nice hover round. That I like.
Yeah.
Cruising around with my weed, with my binocle weed.
Sure.
What, is a hover round when you can't walk? Is that what it is for?
It's or I would prefer not to.
I would prefer not to. Except I always thought the going up the stairs on a thing wouldn't be as not. It's not that it's not fun.
It's not fun. It's too slow to be fun.
It's too slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was tough for my parents especially the one that went up to the attic. You know, do you feel difficulty feeling like having a home, like Minnesota is your home, since you don't have your, I mean, it's been a long time since you had the house that one of your parents was in.
Yeah.
But do you feel it's weird when you go there? Like you don't feel.
Yeah, it feels, it's felt progressively weird over 20 plus years
There's just no way to get around
as
that.
it slowly becomes not really my hometown anymore.
Yeah. Does it make you sad or you just.
No, it doesn't make me sad. I mean, I think it would make me sadder if I had a shitty life here, or,
Yeah.
There's no regret attached to it. So
that's true.
But yeah, no, it is, the first time it was starkly weird was going there and staying in a hotel in my hometown.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was the first time it was really like, okay, this is not home anymore.
In your mind's eye, do you remember everything about your house?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because I do remember. I mean, yeah, it's like, I guess I was scared about that I would be, I got scared about things that didn't matter. Like, not scared, but just like, I'm sure I did lose things from my childhood, but I'm not, they're gone, wherever they were.
Right.
I know I didn't have my baseball cards because I know that I checked that they were gone, and I don't think I can blame, most people blame their parents for throwing them out. I don't think I ever had a great baseball card collection, to be honest.
Well,
why would I cover it up?
If you didn't have them in little separate sleeves of things, then no, you didn't.
I had that part of my mind though, because I did collect stamps.
Yeah.
So I loved the idea that I would be with the first day covers and all, but it just ultimately didn't interest me as much as like just reading comic books or whatever I want,
Yeah.
just having something.
Well, because you have to be the kind of person who's actually going to do the commerce attached to it to make it,
right.
Like it's not like you'd be on eBay selling cards,
Well, that's the thing too.
You'd be going, I should probably do my cards so I can put them on eBay, but I never will.
Well, it's like, I'm older than you, so I probably collected, does that mean were baseball cards more of a thing for me?
I think they were probably a little more of a thing for you, yeah. But they were around. I mean, there was Star Wars cards, there was Charlie's Angels cards, there was all these other things that had come in the 70s.
Did you like Wacky Packs?
I liked Wacky Packs, yeah.
And that was from
I have an uncut full printer's sheet of Wacky Pack cards that haven't been cut into cards.
Oh man! And now, does that from Did you read Cracked?
It was not from Cracked, but it was of the similar sensibility to Cracked.
Oh, you know what? I think it's because Drew Friedman worked on those. That's what the connection I'm making.
The Wacky Packages.
Yeah, because I think he maybe also worked for Mad too
Yeah, he did.
But I think the thing is, people think, oh, if I had really paid attention to it, I would have. No, because you never would. Nobody had not everybody had the Mickey Mantle card when it meant something to have the Mickey Mantle rookie card. It was already.
Right, but also you just have to realize that you're part of the machine, and the machine only works if the vast majority of people throw their shit out.
I did go through a thing where I collected, like Susan bought me a couple of the first Mad magazines. It's kind of fun for a second, but I don't want to spend money on it. Exactly. I'd rather.
What did I give you? Oh, I gave you the Marvel Comics Letterman.
Yeah, that's great.
Issue. But I didn't buy an expensive copy of it.
No. I'm not. But the thing is, I've been looking back at hate comics because they're really good. Reading the comics back in the individual comic thing is really good to do. You know, I really do enjoy it.
Then it is good to do.
Because a lot of like I got into hate through the anthology first, and then I went back. Some of the things you really are all the Palookavilles and Optic Nerves. They are good when you go back to the original comic book things. And we'll be back with more. What's that show that Kevin Smith does? Comic Book People.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Comic Man. It's not still on.
I don't think it is. No.
What's your take on Kevin Smith? I'm not being mean, but what's your take on him?
I kind of like him a little more. I mean, I remember I pitched that show with him earlier this year, so It's not a total outsider take anymore. So I like it more probably having dealt with him than I did before dealing with him.
Cool. That's good, right?
He will light a joint at a pitch meeting on Zoom.
Oh, that is good. I can't believe, since you say Zoom now, I can't believe that I once had an interaction with the Dilbert guy. Not, I couldn't see him, but he was on the phone.
Yeah.
And it was like, I didn't know that guy was going to become crazy.
You never do. You can't you can't blame yourself for not seeing the writing on every wall.
Because it wasn't a bad comic, right? It was a pretty good comic.
What, Dilbert?
Yeah.
It was a comic strip, you know. It was okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it played in the paper.
Yeah.
No, but I remember liking it when I first saw it. Like, it was kind of hip, a little hip.
It was a little hip,
bit.
yeah. You know, and then it became, you saw it on people's cubicles, and then, you know,
right.
Less and less hip over time, and now he's a fucking fascist.
And that's the thing. Someone needs to do a study about how you feel about your art and your chances of turning into a fascist.
They should.
But no, I guess you can't. You just can't see it coming with a guy like that. I think the point you're making is you really can't necessarily see it coming. Sometimes you can, but
yeah, but we all know people who took some sort of fucking major off ramp from where you thought they were going.
You know, and the other thing is how embarrassing just being on social media is. Did you see the thing that happened with David Crosby?
Yeah.
I mean, it was incredibly callous what he did.
Yes, it was.
But
which is why no one who has any relationship with him will speak to him anymore.
And then everybody starts saying about how terrible it was. But I was thinking, yes, it was a callous thing, but even the more damaging because of the format. It just looks so painful in that format. Don't quit. And also,
he retweeted
ridiculous.
it. He retweeted it. So he not only did he say something shitty to someone who sent him a piece of fan art, but he broadcast his shittiness to the world and tried to make them essentially make that fan a target for other people.
I actually thought it was an excellent work.
I thought it was fun. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was, you know, it certainly wasn't worthy of his ridicule, you know.
And of course
but it just shows you what a fucking narcissist he is. His reaction is, what a weird picture of me. Don't quit your day job, you know.
It's so sad.
You know, that his first thing is like, that doesn't look like me, you know, which of course it did.
I know. Well, that's the thing too, but
you know, I've gotten a lot of fan art because Mystery Science Theater fans are big fan art artists.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's something where I could directly go, no, that's a dick fucking move. You know?
Yeah. Under any circumstances, it's bad. But yeah, it is. It's interesting because I was thinking that because of Twitter, it came out worse, but actually because of Twitter, he showed some of his true colors that other people have been talking about.
Yes.
Right?
And you know, and paid the price for it is, you know, the Twitter price, which is about you trend for a day and people calling you an asshole, you know.
Right. He never reacted to it, right?
I don't think he did.
See,
I unfollowed him about a month or two ago just because I thought he was a narcissistic
I'm going to unfollow him. I'm going to unfollow him now because
I'm glad I didn't wait till this to unfollow him because then it would have been, you know, a bandwagon abandonment. But
it's such a weird thing. You know what? I think it is, again, where you want to love the person's music and you want them to be like their music.
And or you want them to be like their music makes you feel.
Yeah, exactly. And when you see in real life, if they're the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
But you wrote we are two, and we're for each other. You wrote for each other. Ah, fuck you. I hated that song. I was going to make fun of him the other day. I was going to make fun of hovering harlequins, but I decided not to.
Yeah.
It was too late.
Did he write Did he write Helplessly Hopeless?
I think he did. I think he did. I think I'm right about that. Okay. His harlequin hovers. I believe he did. You know what? I hope that at least some of the bullshit I sling is true.
I hope so too.
Yeah. But you don't think of me as a bullshit artist. I'm not that good.
No, you're Chef Blowhardy in my heart.
I want that It's wrong to want that on your tombstone or something. Well, I don't think I'm going to have a tombstone, maybe.
You will now.
Chef Blowhardy. It is hard to think of myself that I have blowhardiness in me, because I don't think of myself as it's like it's not Dennis Miller.
No, what's weird about it though is that you aspire to blowhardiness. That's
you
what's
think
weird.
I do?
Yeah,
I do.
I do. You think like it's the correct move always. You think you need to show how much you know about any topic.
Right,
like that's the move you should be making.
Excuse me, America. I hate to interrupt your day, but there is that part of me where actually what you're saying is not completely good. And I don't even have the arsenal of facts to back up that kind of person.
All right, but you want to be.
I do.
Yeah.
No, I think I really want to be just a nice fella.
You hope the facts will come just like you hope a punchline will come by the end of the sentence.
Right. But let's not make me look too...
No, you're a delight.
desperate.
You're a delight.
You know.
I gotta. I'm on the payroll right now. I gotta puff you up a bit.
What payroll? Oh, right, that payroll. I thought you were talking about the podcast payroll.
No.
I'm very happy that we made it to an hour, because I thought that if I started to wander or mention wandering, that you'd hang up. Sorry, Josh.
What's happening over there, Andy?
I have to put power on. I have to put... I'm like a Jim Carrey. If there's a market for Jim Carrey with a guy who just like... It's not that funny, but he just hits himself awkwardly.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Why do I have to go like this?
You're like you're the Ritz brothers of Jim Carrey's.
Before we go to the what do you call the segment?
I call them questions. Assuming that's the segment you're talking about.
Yeah. I'm trying to write material for our show next week.
I am too.
I'm doing a good job, and better than normally.
Good.
Normally.
You seem
normally.
like...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Well, you've done enough. You've done enough to modify your behavior that once.
That was backsliding. Yeah. Normally is backsliding. I think, right?
It is.
It's so annoying.
But you caught yourself. So
here's the thing: every time before I say it, I think it's going to be funny again.
Wow.
That's really annoying.
The disease.
So, I'm trying to go. I go. I'm trying to write about Jimmy Dore, and they're popping up in the news.
I know. It's like all the targets are all trending. It's very nice.
It's not like. Here's the thing. It's not like Dave Chappelle did a couple of jokes on something that got found out, and he goes, "Oh, they still talking about those
right? That stuff from 10 years ago. I can't believe you're digging that up."
He's currently. This is his shtick right now.
All right. Well, no. Now it's for high school kids.
What do you mean?
Netflix just released his speech to high school kids when he dedicated the auditorium that doesn't bear his name but bears a more arrogant, theater for free speech kind of bullshit.
Josh, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Would it behoove me to watch that?
It would behoove you more than me. That's kind of.
I'm going to watch it.
That was my.
I'm going to watch it.
That was my hope, was that you'd watch it and I wouldn't have to.
I got to bite the bullet on that because it's got to have all of the.
You got to give me your rants though, if you can.
Okay.
Give me your rants in advance so I can punch them up and focus them a little bit, so it doesn't just feel like a spew.
I can't believe that. Every year you've said to me, "I don't even need to touch this. This is so funny as is."
No,
when you go, I'd like Jimmy Dore to go to hell.
You misheard me, I think.
Are you sure? Because you said, you know what? Wait till the end till you do the rants.
Because I'd love to do them in your feelings.
Yes, I will. Okay, I will. I know what you're saying. You're saying stop lying. I'll send it over to you first thing when the contest is over.
I think you have enough venom in you to think it's going to fuel your rant, and I think I can help.
That's right. What am I holding back? So I was looking around. So just recently, your hometown, my friend, the First Avenue.
I know. Yes.
And they not only here's what I loved about what the First Avenue did. They were like, "We are very sorry, people. We did not know that this fucking idiot." You know what I mean? They didn't even try and cut it down the middle. It goes, "This is horrible. What this guy's doing, horrible. We apologize to our concessionaires."
Well, I mean, the thing is that what happened is it was all their staff, really, that mostly revolted. Because they were very big on having this code of conduct for their acts and blah, blah, blah. And then Chappelle calls and they're like, "Oh, yeah, Chappelle. Yeah, okay."
Right. Yeah, well, but they probably just didn't know what was going to happen. Why would you think? Let's say you're not in the loop. And the First half of the people.
That's bullshit. No, they knew it was I think they just got excited. Yeah. They starfucked.
Did you just say what I said was bullshit?
No, what they said. What you're saying about.
Oh, it was always bullshit.
If someone was claiming ignorance, it's bullshit.
Right. No. It was more like, "We're sorry."
Yeah. No, I think it was like, "Oops, we starfucked. Oops, we starfucked."
Oops.
It was a spur of the moment thing. And we starfucked. Sorry.
Right. Well, that's why I think Mulaney.
Because he already had 2 dates booked the next 2 nights in town.
Are you kidding me?
No, he had 2 nights booked at the Varsity Theater already, which is where they moved the show to.
You know what I hate too? And I'm going to write this down so I don't forget. Is how eager he is to do the material. How eager he is to get back out there and say terrible things. Maybe. No? Okay.
No, I think he is, but he doesn't feel as if any of the scolding was valid. So he feels completely justified in his.
Yeah, but that's because something's wrong with him. I mean, it's not like
I won't fight you there.
Yeah, it's like if every time I went on stage and I just said I talked about how gay people are sick in the head.
No, he's
sick in the head.
He thinks he's mean Jesus.
Why don't you write that one down?
You write it down. It's your speech, goddammit. I said it.
He's mean Jesus.
He thinks he's mean Jesus.
He really is. Also, he's got every horrible thing that happens to somebody when their ego gets fucking, Did you see when he came into that town, the town that he was in, and they tried to do something to one of his plans? He's like, "I'm going to tell you what the situation is, and I'm going to tell." He's like happy to be a villain in this small town.
Yes.
Or throw his weight around in a small town.
Yes. That's what Mean Jesus does.
Mean Jesus. And then he does this other thing too, where Doesn't he say this to the people? If you can show me the proper respect, at the Godfather of comedy. Wait, is he the Godfather of comedy? Come here, Fredo.
No, because I don't think he purports to mete out justice in any way. But
he just knows he's in charge.
He's mean Jesus, is my point.
I want you to put a couple hours into Mean Jesus
right.
this morning. And when you're done with that, I'll have other things for you. I sent you something in the middle of the night.
Did you?
Yeah, well, no, a couple nights ago.
Okay.
I thought you were. Here's what I went through.
Yeah, we talked about it. It was your list of jokes, and I said there's lots of funny there.
No. I texted you since then. I thought you were dead. I'm not kidding you.
I have no idea.
I thought you were dead.
I have no idea what you're speaking of.
Okay, so. Oh, okay. We did talk yesterday.
Yeah. Mr. Blackout.
Yeah, because it was on. We have a new. I was very excited about it. I've got more. I got the blueprints, everything for the new pot place.
Yes.
No, Josh. No, across the street from the cheesemongers. Across the street from cheesemongers. So,
I looked at their site. It wasn't that exciting weed wise.
Oh, okay. But here's what happened. I said to you near the world's oldest music store.
Right.
Nothing. I got nothing from you.
It wasn't.
And then at 8:43. Are we doing 10:30 a.m. tomorrow? 8:43, 9, 9:15, 9:20, 9:45, 10 o'clock. Nothing. No, I'm sorry. 9:50. I thought you were dead.
So under an hour is what you're saying.
Under an hour, because...
No, 1 hour, 7 minutes was my response.
I don't know what my argument was there.
I don't know. I
thought I had more evidence.
I apparently left you hanging really, really bad.
Aren't you glad that I would be sad? What do you hear?
I'm hearing some sort of weird vibration, but that's okay.
I feel that in my pants.
I'm picking up good vibrations.
Oh, he's giving you expectations. Oh, sha, ga, go, sha. Why am I going off the mic?
I don't know. I don't know, but it's better, actually.
Oh. Painfulness about my feelings about my voice.
Hey, before I forget, we're taking next week off, everybody. Just want
Not next week.
Next week off. Next week is off.
So as you're listening to this, which should be Monday, just 3 days from now in real life. Monday. What day is that going to be?
It doesn't matter. Next week we're off. Whenever you're listening,
I know how to promote things. You don't know how to promote them. What day is today? All right. So you're listening on the 25th? So what's 7 days plus 25? Yeah, we're taking them off. We're going to end. Don't tell anybody that I'm giving that speech because people think I'm going to Montreal, so don't tip it.
Are you sending a body double?
No, I'm saying people think I'm still going to go there.
I know, but you should send a body double just to be around maybe see you at the airport.
Like a Saddam Hussein thing?
I just missed Kindler again.
I did that. I only had that happened to me once. I did that when I played the same casino as a Horshack.
Really?
When I played the Riviera Hotel, and the whole time people go, I saw you over here. I saw you over there. I saw you over here. People thought I was a spitting image, and he was a very attractive man.
You are not Ron Palillo-esque.
So I am Ron Palillo-esque.
Yes, correct.
But to the point where everybody thought you and him were here. You should do a bit about it, maybe, how you look just like him.
Well, coincidentally, I used to get mistaken for the fat Dan Schneider, the fat guy and head of the class, which was the more modern Sweat Hogs.
Is head of the class, was it good?
No, not really, but it was okay. It was okay. And I say that mostly because one of the characters listens to our podcast.
Right. And I loved Welcome Back, Kotter. I don't necessarily... Let me just say this. I don't necessarily go back to listen to the anecdotes of his uncle Patushki.
Yeah.
Have I told you? Hey, Josh, have I told you about my uncle Patushki?
I told you I worked with Gabe the one time.
Okay, tell me again because I love it. And it's Marsha Strassman, right?
It was, yes. I opened for him at the Comedy Gallery St. Paul.
What year was this?
This was probably 1990, maybe 91.
Wow.
And
was it fun?
Went bowling with him afterwards.
You went bowling with Gabe Taplin?
I did.
And he's sweet, right? I love him.
He was nice. He's a gambler. He's looking for action. Even bowling, he was looking for action.
He was going to bowl with you for money?
He was bowling. There was a couple other people with us, and there was someone else in our group who was bowling with him for money.
Yeah, he's also.
I was unwilling to bowl for money, even though it would have just been giving it up to Cotter.
He also knows a lot about. He's a great poker commentator,
and I think he won the World Series of poker one year early.
I didn't know that. That I didn't know.
Yeah, he was a big player.
So
and used to come through town when I was a kid and play at my friend's dad's house. But I never met him then.
Oh. I just realized I wanted to check something with you. There's another guy who went to school with Bob Dylan. And I was wondering if your dad knew him. Well, but I got to have more details than that.
High school or college?
College.
Huh.
Went to college. If this guy went to college when your father was there,
he probably
knew Bob Dylan.
Probably knew my father as well.
You probably know your father. But now I have to come up with a name. And I was thinking, you probably know this name, or it's the name of a person, like a celebrity of some type that I can't think of. Do you know anybody else who's big? Hoagie Carmichael? No, I'm thinking of Indiana University. Okay. I don't know. I'll figure it out for next week. I was so excited. I was actually going to text you and see if you knew the name.
Yeah. Well,
the name that I'm thinking of had two parts to it: the first name and the last name.
Okay.
Why can't I remember something? I can't remember from 3 days ago something that happened. And as I'm listening to the radio, you went to school with Bob Dylan and the guy was like, maybe you don't know that Bob Dylan went to the university. Is it the University of Minnesota?
Yes.
All right. I think I'm done with this story.
My almost mater.
My alma schmata.
Oh. Huh. You took a joke and then made it gibberish.
You don't have to point out every example to the people. The people are here they don't know that I'm terrible. Why do you have to bring it up to them? I have 4 coffees came today. Yesterday.
Yeah. From one vendor?
No, Rob Beans was 2.
Yeah.
2. Excellent.
Yeah.
But I thought when I ordered from him, I thought I messed up and that he was off. So then I went ahead and ordered 2 bags from 4 Barrel. They both came. Mommy, why am I so short?
I'm back to half. I'm back to half and half in my coffee, by the way.
You back to what?
Half and half in my coffee. I was drinking it black there for a while.
Oh, because I'm now to low fat milk. We've replaced all of our milk with low fat milk just on the recommendation of my dietitian. I don't even know if why am I having lower fat milk with diabetes?
Well, lower calories first of all.
Oh, is that what it is?
Less fat.
Yeah, because she tells me that all the time. She's like, "Oh, sure, you can have pistachios. You could have a cup of you can have a 6 ounce, have 4.25 ounces of no salt. No salt." Excuse me.
What is she trying to keep you alive or something?
She's trying to what?
Keep you alive or something? What's the deal?
You know how I now know how to avoid arguments with you where I'm going to get very personal, where I'm going to get my feelings hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go down this road.
Hang up.
But I'm not going to go down this road. I'm not emotionally committed to this, but I find it very suspect to cut down salt. And I know when my father cut down salt, he got very sick from it. So I'm not sure you should cut down salt.
Well,
I've been getting the lightly salted pistachios.
Yeah, all right, well, okay.
I said I didn't want to get into an argument with it, but I think I am prepared for the argument, but I'm not prepared for the bad feelings.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
'Cause there's no.
I don't care, so I'm not going to fight
Okay.
about it. Yeah.
Okay. But do you think I'm wrong?
I do, yeah. I mean, yes. I mean, it depends. I mean, it depends on your blood pressure situation in terms of how much salt matters, I think.
Right. Well, it depends on how your blood pressure is triggered. That's what it depends on. I have to explain everything to you simpletons. I was joking there. Why are you upset with me?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm bored.
Please don't get upset.
I'm
with me.
bored. I'm not so upset.
Let's go to the questions then, shall
All
we?
right, sure.
I think that's how you deal with boredom. Why are you bored? This is exciting. I have lung cancer. I have cancer.
It's too much salt.
I really enjoyed that one.
It's time for questions. What do you want to know? We love your questions so much. It's half our show. Half our show.
Oh God, we can't. This is too many questions, dude. I told you, I didn't mean it. I have Isai. Nope. Now Tweet Bahar is the first question.
From October of 21, he left this question.
But where's Pickles?
He was beaten by the 9-month lead time.
Andy, please give Mad Mad World another look. It's a masterpiece and a great collection of comedy legends at their best. Please watch once more. I have no objection to it.
I disagree that it's a masterpiece, nor do I think it's it is a great collection of comedy legends. I disagree that it's them at their best.
Why do you think Tweet is selling it so hard?
I understand why people are charmed by it, because it is such a cavalcade of familiar and beloved people, but it's not that good a movie.
I'm not going to argue because people.
I think everyone should see it. I just don't think everyone's going to fall in love. I don't think everyone's going to have a Tweet Bahar love affair with it.
Why should we all see it though? I mean, I haven't seen.
Because it's definitely one of those Hollywood history situations. It's cultural literacy, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, Tweet Bahar is back, and he says, "Be warned, sexist statement ahead. Jen Kirkman has the cutest, sandy, crackly laugh in showbiz. Wow." Tweet, get a room or something, right? Shouldn't
Or
he be getting a room?
A clue is more like it.
Does he think he's going to marry Jen Kirkman?
I don't know what he thinks, but he's married already. First of all,
right. I would think that would be the first mistake he's making.
Yeah.
Maybe they have a thing. People have that thing that if I go on and on about
the hall pass.
No, if I go on and on about how attracted I am to Brigitte Bardot. Pre the fascism, when she turned into a horrible.
Right.
Yeah.
Your wife says you can have sex with 1950s Brigitte Bardot if you ever run into her.
No, I just find it fascinating that I just don't. How do you go from one of the most beautiful women in the world to fascist ideology? Lani Riefenstahl. Take the next question, Josh. Take it away, baby.
Dan Codify Wade, also from October of 2021. There was apparently some sort of arms race going on.
How does this happen?
Hey, fellas, happy anniversary of the moon landing. Who's your favorite astronaut?
These are like evergreen questions.
I think Michael Collins. I like a lot.
Who's Michael Collins?
Michael Collins was the guy who orbited the moon when Buzz and Neil went down.
Oh, okay. My favorite, unfortunately, when I was a kid, was Gus Grissom.
Was he? That's a bad.
But was he my favorite?
That's a punch in the face, then.
Was he my favorite beforehand, or was he my favorite afterwards? What year was it? It was 1965 or something like that, right?
That he died?
With that horrible accident.
I think it was more like 1968.
Yeah. So, thanks, Nanny. Bring us down even more.
He was my favorite astronaut in The Right Stuff, as played by Fred Ward.
I think John Glenn was my favorite astronaut as a kid, and I was also.
You were actually old enough to be there for the Alan Shepard and the Glenn flights, right?
I don't remember them though. Really, I remember John Glenn when I was 10 years old. His name, he was already a famous person by the time.
He was on TV all the time too.
When did he become a senator? Much later.
In the 80s, I believe.
Yeah. I like that John Glenn. I don't know if I like John Glenn or I like Ed Harris.
I think we all like Ed Harris a little more.
Than John Glenn?
Yeah.
Because he has more range.
Yeah, and I think he was ultimately a Republican, wasn't he?
No, John Glenn was a Democrat.
Was he? Okay, thank you.
Yeah. You got me scared.
Thank you for saving me. I appreciate it.
I saved you in such an uh-oh, she got in somehow. Pickle says, of course she got in. I don't understand.
Everyone gets in, Andy. Everyone gets in.
No, I don't understand.
We aren't gatekeepers.
Is this a mistake from last October?
No, it was them knowing that they'd be the first question.
That's so crazy. I mean, that shows. I don't want to say this.
It was hopeful. It was hopeful. No, thinking that the show would still be around 9 months ahead was very hopeful, I think.
It was hopeful, but the other part of it is like, are you up to date on all of your stuff in your regular life? Because that seems like a lot of. Because I don't do most of.
He's more of a crammer. You're more. Yeah.
I'm more of a crammer.
You're more of a Friday morning 9:59 a.m. questioner.
Of course, Pickle's question is from the end of June.
Right. Merely a month old.
Really been enjoying the show lately, fellas. How did we know that's true?
Yeah, 3 weeks ago. It was hilarious.
Way to go. Hold for thanks. Thanks, Pickles.
I'm not doing it.
Oh. Is there anyone you invited to your wedding that you no longer speak to?
In the sense that they're dead now, yes.
Who's that?
A couple people.
Oh. There's nobody from my wedding that I have a bad thing with, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no one I'm estranged from that was at my wedding.
Which wouldn't be good.
That I know of.
I don't remember what you got me now. Damn it.
I don't remember what I got you either.
Oh.
I might not have.
No, you got me something.
I might have. I never got a thank you letter, though. There you go. Now it's on you.
Is it you?
I don't care. Sure. BD West says, pro tip for you newbies contemplating your first tweet to the pod. Andy wants nothing more than to field your inquiries about his childhood, while Josh is ready, willing, and able to answer all of your crypto and Rift questions. You're welcome. John Lovitz.
Now, is he doing a reference to, oh, you're welcome. Is that what John Lovitz used to do?
I guess so.
You're welcome. It stinks. I was funny for a little while, and then I got very discouraged with it. He can't be funny again under no circumstance. I don't even think he wants to be funny, John Lovitz.
I think that's probably true.
BD West comes back again. If I don't have a Rumble Pony, Mets AA team in a fight, I'll root for the underdog. Interesting that I could. How would I know? Is that the last name of the Mets? The Rumble Ponies?
It's the AA team.
I'm very impressed that you know about. That's what real baseball fans. They know everything. They know who the new phenom is.
They know the farm system, how it's coming.
Do you know that about basketball?
I know.
You're not that into.
Well, I mean, I know a little bit about the
people coming up.
Yeah, because they have two-way contracts now, and they have.
What does that mean?
Meaning that you sign a player to both your NBA team and your G League team, and they can play up to 50 games for your NBA team.
Oh, wow. Well, that's something that I almost can't even still conceive of it. It's such an out there observation. Thank you.
Yeah.
So thank you. Were you a redshirt freshman?
Yes, I was. And then a redshirt sophomore, and then a redshirt.
Nobody has ever, in relation to me, said, "Was Andy? Did he start for the varsity the first year? No. He was picked from the... I didn't play one collegiate sport except for touch football.
On acid.
It is unbelievable how much acid I did back in... Not unbelievable. I did the amount that I should have done for that time period.
Sure, I guess.
What are you going to do? You're going to get back on my childhood? Can't you leave any parts of my life in a Pollyannish way?
I absolutely can.
Okay, which one? Which part?
The day we met.
Seems like as the hour goes along, your sincerity button needs to be reset.
I might need to. It's writing your speech that's hurting it all.
Have you been playing a lot of time? Oh, you need some more. You need some more ammo, though.
I need some more fodder. I really do.
But I sent you something, and I asked you about the fodder. Did you get that? You must have got it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, I'm going to read that now. Go back to where we were.
All right.
Here's what I wrote to you.
I got the only email I have from you in the last few days is Hodgepodge, batch 1.
Okay. If you need fodder, here's what it is. If you need fodder, I'm coming up with what I will teach in my master class. My master class will instruct you how to end up exactly like me. Stuff like stay in tip-top panic condition by turning those old slights into full grudges.
Yeah, I didn't have that. And the problem with that to me is that it's not on mission to me. That's just stand-up material. That's not about...
I know what you're saying, but this would be a topic I would never be afraid to do because it's just the thing that's going around. Everyone's teaching their master class.
Yeah.
So on that level,
right.
I see it as going in the speech.
Okay.
But you don't have to work on it.
As with anything, if I think of a joke, I'll give it to you, of course. But
no.
That was my. It didn't light me up because of that very reason. Because it's like this doesn't feel like SOTI really.
I've never heard you say "light you up." I like that. It kind of sounds more modern than our generation. It didn't, float your boat.
Right.
Okay. Duckman says, if you had to pick two television parents that best represent your own parents, who would they be? For example, my dad would be Tim Allen on Home Improvement, and my mom would be Kitty Foreman from that 70s show. I don't think you really want to have, I do not believe you really want to have Tim Allen as your father.
I don't think you do either.
No.
I think it's giving him too much credit as an actor too, probably.
Right. And I don't remember Kitty Foreman. You probably do.
Who is Kitty Foreman, did they say?
That 70s show?
I know who she is. I never really watched that show very much, though. But I know the character.
I'm very impressed with how you...
I don't know. I mean, my dad, unfortunately, I have to say, my dad had a little bit of Cosby about him.
He did?
He did.
In what sense?
Just in terms of vibe.
Your dad?
Yeah, a little bit. Not
like around the house. Like, hey, scrambled egg, like he talked to you like Russell? What did he do around the house that was like Cosby?
I don't know. I don't like the way you're approaching this.
No, but I'm giving you mine. My thing was like, I give you mine. Hey, kiddo. My thing was, my dad would go, I'm going to get in the shower. I'm going to hop in the shower. Why aren't you walking? But that wasn't like Cosby.
My father would call bullshit the way Cosby would on his kids. My father would...
When did Cosby... I don't remember this family.
You never saw the show, obviously.
Oh, I did. I watched the... I was addicted to the 80s show. And when it was on, I'll never watch it again. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty funny. I love the kid Malcolm Jamal Warner, who you worked with on a different show.
It's true.
I thought he was very funny on that show. But I could never watch it now. It's like MASH. I can't go back. You told me you're planning to go back one more time into MASH, just the BJ Honeycutt years. Then you're going to go back and do a comparison between that and the original Trapper John.
Uh-huh.
Didn't you do your doctorate on Colonel Blake. Hero. All right, I'm going to the next one. Mozart says, I'm late. Test show 266. Oh, or possibly test show 267. I like when people cover their bases. Did either of you hear Mark Maron's recent interview with Jerry Stahl? I haven't, but I would like to. The Boys from Brazil was discussed, and I have to say it was my third favorite two-Jew review of that film after Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner's original from
1978. And coming in at number 1, of course, the definitive Thought Spiral review. Don't have many questions these days, but I never miss a show. Love you guys.
And he had done a mistake with spelling, but I knew that spelling doesn't matter.
Right.
So I like Jerry Stahl a lot. I worked with him. He directed. Oh, no, I'm wrong. I worked with him on Maron Show. That's right. I got confused. He was the Permanent Midnight guy.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I like, he's an extremely interesting guy because I remember watching, I even loved the movie with Stiller. I thought it was a pretty good movie.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Midnight. Yeah. So, but he's interesting.
Yeah, I liked his book. I liked the book far better than the movie, but and he was years before that even he was a partner of a friend of Chris Bliss's named Steve Saadian, who's a director who, under a pseudonym of Rinse Dream, I believe, directed the sort of cult porn movie Cafe Flesh.
Wow.
And did a sort of porn version of Caligari, too, of The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Wow. Yeah, you read the book, right?
Permanent Midnight, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure that they...
Just the Alf sequence alone in the book versus the movie made it better. But
because of his real experience on Alf?
Yes.
I forget what happened to him on Alf.
It wasn't good because
he was very high,
doing heroin in a stall and had this bad sort of hallucination of Alf banging on the door.
Alf, if I had done acid and I was working on Alf, or it could be bad, because Alf could be funny when you're not high. You don't want to do acid and watch Alf.
Probably not.
Willie!
Who was the voice of Alf?
I'm not sure. Willie!
Willie who?
Willie!
That's such a...
Willie who? I'm not playing the straight man anymore.
You're not very good at it.
How many questions? He's back.
Michael DeBar appeared on Alf.
On what?
On Alf.
Oh.
F. Jack Barker says, just in case, hey, fellas, I'm wanting a John Taffer of Bar Rescue fame ghost hunting show. Do you Hollywood insiders know how I get that going? Is there like a hotline in the end credits of what other jokes I can make about Bar Rescue?
I don't know who that John Taffer guy. I don't know anything about Bar Rescue.
I don't either. I really don't.
I mean, I've watched a couple of episodes.
I've never have. I've seen other sort of restaurant rescue-y shows, so I can imagine there's a certain tough love quality to him.
The tough love thing is, I'm done with it. Like, I don't want to see Gordon Ramsay yell at the person who washes dishes.
I think there's something to that.
Do you think British people enjoy anger more? They enjoy angry characters more?
Maybe. Or Americans enjoy British angry characters more.
There's so much Tweet Pahara.
Tweet Pahara forgot he wrote a question 9 months ago, decided to chime in again.
Tweet Pahara says that considering the Jews control the media, I think you guys would have better listener numbers. Boom, boom, boom. He got us. And the second part, what would you... I don't even understand that. I thought that was the second part. It's not, right?
No, it's a tag to one of your tweets.
Oh, I see. What would you tell that young man? It's me and my cousin Barbie.
You posted this picture of you in 1978, looking really high, looking super high, by the way.
Everybody says that. I think I was high a lot then, but I also didn't scan it in color, which was a mistake. I would tell that young man, get out of the music business as quickly as you can into comedy. That's what I would have told him.
Wow.
Very prescient.
I'd just call him stupid.
Go ahead, dude. Do the next one. I want you to have the honor. This is very exciting.
This is the Mozart 2 one. I kept meaning to tell you guys, there is a Cinderella backwards thingy. Andy is not crazy in this case. It's called Rindacella, and the words are all mixed up, like the word Rindacella for Cinderella. This must be what Andy remembers. I know it because my 7th grade math teacher used to tell it to us after quizzes to kill time on Fridays. It's the whole story of Cinderella, but all the words are screwed up, making for the wackiness and the fun and the laughs. You're welcome. I still remember the classic line, she slopped her dripper.
You know, this is absolutely...
Is this what he's talking about? Is this?
It's absolutely, because I remember the Rindacella part.
Ah.
And I never saw the thing. I wonder if this is more popular in Canada. Because but all I know is it killed. He would close with this bit. It would kill.
Yeah. All right.
It was a simpler time, though.
Okay, well, you're vindicated.
Thank you. I win again.
The story of the Maury is this. If you go to a bouncy fall and you want to have a prancing Hansel all in fub with you, don't forget to slop your dripper.
Dagobert of Tacoma, him, says, listening to Test Show 266 got me thinking, what about a movie version of Team of Rivals? What about casting, you ask? What would it sound like if President Kindler called Secretary of War Weinstein into the Oval Office? Come into the Oval Office, General Weinstein. I need you right away, please. Come in here, please.
I think it's Secretary Weinstein.
Secretary Weinstein, come in here, please. Secretary Weinstein, please come in here immediately.
Okay. Despite the fact that we're great rivals, I'll be right there.
Can you help me? I'm trying to watch Fox News. Why am I doing this to James Mason?
I don't know.
I can't do impressions. It's very nerve-wracking.
Jesus Christ, Tweet Bahara's fucking back.
Get out of here.
Come on, Tweet. Come on.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
New podcast I highly recommend. The hosts are Crow and Tom Servo, and it's called Bot Spiral. Servo does a great James Mason, he says.
Is this happening, or is that another joke about something else?
It's another joke.
Andy in 19... Okay, here's the thing. I don't know who this thing is. Should I read the question?
Oh, someone had just created an Andy in 1978 account. Kindler 1970 at Kindler 1978, based on your photo that you posted.
Yeah, so I was saying, what were you listening to in that old station wagon as you drove to California? Well, car radio, obviously. It had to be a car radio.
No 8-track? Nothing?
No 8-track, no. I know for sure there was nothing in that car except a radio. I could have had something in there because my parents had an 8-track. It's 1978. I'm driving across country. What's available to me? Certainly not a CD player.
8-track or cassette, I would think at that point.
Yeah. No. They
had those flip down record players there for a while too, for cars. But
they did not.
They
have
did.
this.
They absolutely did, but they were very aftermarket.
That would be so cool.
Look it up. They exist.
Like during the 60s, during the Motown era, or earlier?
More 50s-ish than 60s-ish, I think.
Jersey, I don't know why these questions come in different than they go back. Jersey says, I go to a lot of minor league baseball games, and I think it's super gross when middle-aged men heckle the 22 to 24-year-old kids at bat. Any advice on how to let the hecklers know where to go besides politely asking them to stop or calling an usher?
I don't recommend you do any of those things, first of all.
That would be bad at the minor league game, right?
I have to say, this is a little bit, this is snowflakey to me. These are professional athletes. It's not a college game. It's not a high school game. It's not a little league game. These are professional athletes being heckled by spectators. I don't think your sensitivity is warranted here. I understand hating the douches who are doing it. But I believe that, these are professional athletes. They don't need to be protected.
It's so funny because did you call the usher on me? I didn't even know they had an usher. Look, sir, I just don't think it's appropriate.
I'm not an usher. Please. Just, do you want some peanuts or not?
I'm trying to think. It is kind of.
There are ushers at a ballgame, by the way.
I know. I'm sure there. I know it might. But the fact that there be middle-aged men what he's saying here, I believe, is absolutely true. That there are angry men who are yelling at these younger kids based on their own broken dreams.
Sure. No, I don't really have an issue with the sensitivity to assholes.
I know. I never.
It's thinking that the baseball players need protection from the assholes.
I was reading somewhere where they were talking about how, there's different kind of people. Like a lot of people, like hate to confront things. So the example was, you don't say anything to your neighbor about their cat digging up your lawn. You just refuse. You don't want to hurt their feelings, and then you call the cops.
Right. That was what my brother once was describing to me, the difference between consulting with people on the East Coast versus the West Coast, which is, on the East Coast, they'll say, this is fucked up, fix it. And on the West Coast, they'll say, no, everything's great, and then you're fired.
That is so great. That's so true. Oh, Dan Marsh says, hey guys, what's your favorite museum or art gallery, and what's your favorite thing there?
Wow.
It's a tough one.
I have a very warm spot for the Walker Art Center in Minneapolis.
You should. Which
is a modern art place where they have that. You might have seen the famous cherry on the spoon fountain, the sculptor of which just died this week.
Who?
Also, the sculptor of the Spoon Bridge, Cherry Bridge.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Whose name escapes me. But it was the first place I ever saw a Chuck Close painting, which as a kid was like totally mesmerizing to me that it was an actual painting.
Yeah, his stuff looks amazing.
I have really vivid and strong memories of my times at the Air and Space Museum in D.C. and a lot of the Smithsonian. I like MoMA. I like Chicago
cool.
Institute of Art.
I don't like the Guggenheim.
I don't like the Guggenheim.
The reason why I don't like the Guggenheim is I don't like to be on an incline.
Really?
If that's what you're doing, it's like,
No, I understand, but really?
What do you want? I have to have a take. Sometimes you have to have a take, even if it's not that good. Guggenheim. I will say the Walker Art Center is maybe my favorite. It's like a world-class museum, and it's maybe my favorite place. And there's a saying on it, pieces put together to form a semblance of a whole. Although maybe that was just on there when I was there.
Yeah.
I love that museum.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm very artsy, I think. Don't you think?
Sure.
I know about art.
I like the Tate Modern in London a lot too.
Now you're bragging. You know what I'm saying? I can go, when I was in Switzerland, I enjoyed the Anne Frank. I could do the same thing.
In Switzerland? Really? Could you say that?
I like the dumb guy. The dumb guy brings me endless joy. Andy in 1978, he can't do twice. This whole Andy at 28 Twitter account is hacky bullshit, right? I mean, where do I go from here? It's already played out. Sigh. Okay, here's my swan song. What was your favorite movie when you were 28? I want to say Ordinary People.
You were 28 in what, 1984?
Yeah. I already said Annie Hall I'd seen. I loved Annie Hall. Is that right? Am I right? Yeah, the 70s.
Yeah. You had seen it 6-7 years earlier.
I think it was probably The Miracle Worker. I loved that movie, and I got to see it as a small child before it was appropriate. And I don't know. I mean, now you got me into 5 Easy Pieces and trying to impress people. Oh, yes, I enjoy art house films.
Don't Call Me Boopsy says, please send me your address so I can have the Jason Mantzoukas Wait What shirt delivered directly. He's not on Twitter, guys. Geostorm.
Wait, what?
There it is. There's the Wait What shirt.
Wait a second. Now, can I ask you a question? Does Jason Mantzoukas say "wait what" a lot?
I don't know. I'm not willing.
Because it really
I'm not
makes
willing
me sick
to dive for this one.
Oh no, it's T Public. T Public.
Yeah,
that's a good outfit.
No, but that's probably where Jason Mantzoukas does his merch.
Oh, I thought that Don't Call Me Boopsy made it for this letter.
Ah, no, I don't think so.
Oh, I hope that what is your take on Jay? I don't even really know him that well. Do you?
I don't either. I don't know who he is. In fact, my take is who.
You would know who he was because he once hosted the correspondence thing, unless I'm mixing him up with somebody else. Sous Vide. Sorry guys. Sous Vide says, "Sorry guys, our normal couples counselor is on vacation, so we agreed to ask you." That's very good. When does my inflexibility become her undependability? She says I need to go with the flow. I say she needs to stop changing plans on a whim. This is an excellent question.
Yeah.
Where do you get things like the inflexibility become her undependability? Very good. Very, very good. I don't have anything more to say than that.
Like an answer? You have no opinion? You have no take? Well, they're coming to us for help, and you got nothing for them except for a chuckle?
Because I don't think it's a real question.
I don't know.
I think your inflexibility comes her... Okay, I'm not going to even try and answer it.
I know that in our marriage, and I don't care if it's a real question, but it sparked an answer. One of the coping mechanisms that Allison and I have is we're sworn to be honest about how important it is if the other person attends a thing with us.
What? Say it again.
Like if Allison has a thing,
right?
She has to be honest with how important is it that I come with her.
That's a very, very good thing.
You know, like if she really doesn't care, I'm off the hook. You know, and I'm glad about that. Same with her. She doesn't, you know. But
that's very
the thing is, you know, the point is really the opposite. If someone says, "I really want you to come," then you got to come.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
But where would that? Yes, and I think if you really had to come, it would have to be something like a baptism.
Well, there's different reasons. I have anxiety about this is one reason.
Right.
It's the right thing to do is another reason.
Yes.
You know, I want you to meet these people is another reason, you know.
Well, there's a lot of trust involved there.
There is. And
Dan Marsh says, "What's the worst reaction you ever got from a crowd and how did you deal with it?" I've had so many terrible reactions. I really cannot separate them into worst ofs. I've had terrible shows where they were like basically, "When's he leaving?" or like the one that's in Iowa next to that Jeff Johnson gig.
It's Spaghetti Works.
What's that?
Spaghetti Works? Funny Bone?
No, it's I don't know, it's whatever he does, Penguins, whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
And then so it's always going to be like you do the casino. Anytime you'll do the casino one night, it's going to be terrible.
Right.
So I can't even remember one out of millions.
There was I don't know. There's been a couple where it's just been the worst case scenario.
Nothing sticks out, just bad.
Well, there's a couple that stick out, but one of them was like a sports bar gig where they turned off a game that everyone was watching to do.
I think you told me this.
Yeah. And another was all black crowd and like a black radio night in Kansas City, like literally 100% black crowd. I think without exception. And they hated my ass. And they, and it was at that time in the 80s when they would actively hate you because of Showtime at the Apollo, where it was, not only would they not laugh, they would turn on you actively.
Oh, right,
yes.
right. the Tom says, do comedians become unfunny because they are right-wing, or are they right-wing because they are not funny? Cha-cha. I don't know. Dennis Miller was arguably funny, so...
Dennis Miller was funny. But I think he was not ever as funny as we gave him credit for, probably.
Right. He was overrated. Now that it all gets down to it.
But there was definitely a turning point, and I think the turning point was 9/11 for him.
Yeah. And do they become... I don't think... I first of all, there's no right-wing comedy, really, because comedy comes from, the only funny comedy is, you're going against the power brokers or, there's no reason for people to.
I mean, I don't
It doesn't matter.
I just don't, they're probably, I think there are probably conservative comics who are funny.
Sure.
But they don't do comedy about being conservative.
No. It just happens to be a feature of their life that they are.
Yeah. I don't know who they are. I can't name them. But I believe it's possible. But I don't think I have yet to see anyone make real actual comedy out of right-wing pandering.
Right. And it's just in general, that's usually make fun of the group that's being picked on. There's a reason to, it's like when they try to do those jokes about, we're going to do jokes about the ACLU on our right.
It seems like what's his face, the guy who was on SNL, is trying real hard now to make inroads as the leading conservative comic. The guy
who is that?
The guy who did like Goat Boy and
Jim Brewer.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. I should write that.
Yes, I think you're right. I was just thinking the same thing. Yeah,
well, he also is not particularly has incisive stuff.
You think?
He's like, hey, what are these liberals are like, you can't do this, you can't do that. Isn't that him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's worth bringing him up just for your impression.
I'm going to bring him up. Thank you for supplying me with everything.
Sure. And by the way, Tom, you were helpful to me last couple weeks because I used your name as a mnemonic device to remember my neighbor Tom's name.
Oh. Everybody. I mean, that would be, anybody would be. Christopher Citro says, spent last week in the Adirondacks, learned loons have teeth. Teeth on a duck? Ever been in a kayak or canoe? Or if not, ever fall into a lake in front of a stranger on the phone who said, I hope this guy with the kayak doesn't need me to help him?
I think you gave that a bad read, though. You do it. I just, because he said, ever fall into a lake in front of a stranger on the phone who said, I hope this guy in the kayak doesn't need me to help him.
It's very funny. It's actually a very, very, very funny thing that I ruined once again.
I just felt it needed a little more
ruined
clarity.
A writer says, are hot dogs considered...
No. There was a question about a canoe and a kayak.
All right, you go ahead. Okay, I'm sorry. I've been in both I've been in a canoe, not a kayak.
I've been in both. I prefer the canoe. I spent a lot of time in canoes, in fact. But all before I was 20 years old. Everything I've ever done was before I was 20 years old, pretty much. Then I moved to Los Angeles, got into show business, and stopped doing things.
Well, canoeing is something that you're not going to pursue once you can get away from it.
I don't think that's true. I kind of
no, it's fun. I
felt sort of longingly about canoes when I read this question.
Well, you've had
I miss lakes.
Right, and you're also a sailor. You've done some sailing.
Yeah.
So you probably would enjoy a canoe because the guy in the back and the stern or the bow or whatever the fuck it is, he's got to steer the canoe.
Yeah, I like being that guy.
Okay, well, you know, you want to just throw in my face that you're great with canoes. What's the other one? Kayak? Canoe? What's another one of those?
Shell. Rowing shell.
Silverfish?
Rowboat.
A writer says, are hot dogs considered sandwiches? What dimensions does sound reside in? Hot dogs are, I guess, technically sandwiches, and the fifth dimension.
All right, settled.
It's settled law.
Brian R. sends a picture of the Citrus Park Animal, Bird, and Exotics Hospital and says, now I'm confused. Are birds not animals?
Oh, my God. I mean, Jesus Christmas. Am I going to have... I mean, you make one or two simple mistakes, like the Earth is flat, and then all of a sudden I'm the bad guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm stupid.
11-year-old court jester says, are you familiar with the Freestyle Libre 2 and how it can help lower your A1C through continuous glucose monitoring?
I am going to have that installed soon.
Are you?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, my dietitian wants me to have it.
All right. How often are you meeting with the dietitian, by the way?
Daily.
Seriously?
No, just once.
Ah.
But she did say that I'd like to see you in 6 weeks, and I'd like to install a Freestyle Libre up your ass.
What?
Oh, you froze. You know, you froze for a second? That was fun. I am familiar with it, and I may be using it. I have type 2 diabetes. I have it.
Oh, yeah.
He's got it.
All right, Stephen L. Yates says, guys, corned beef, pastrami, brisket, potato latkes. I've got a trip to Katz's Deli in my future. What's your order? I like it all. You got to go pastrami at Katz's.
Everything you've said, I like.
I think a pastrami Reuben is going to be your best bet there.
Yeah, that would be the best way. And
maybe a lot. An order of latkes on the side. It'll be a heavy meal. But
it is my favorite. I think it is ultimately maybe my favorite deli.
And make sure you say I'll have what she's having at some point.
They love it there. They're not tired of it.
They're not tired of it.
No, they're not. John Dunbar says, on a recent, who is that? Am I drunk?
I think you're doing Ed Sullivan. You're doing that.
I have a really big recent shoe. John Dunbar says, on a recent show, it snuck out that both of you are fans of Mark. God damn it.
Mark Knopfler.
Stop mocking.
Mark Knopfler.
On a recent show, it snuck out that both of you are fans of Mark Knopfler. Can the same be said about Richard Thompson? I can only speak for myself. I am a fan of Richard Thompson, but I've fallen out of the loop with him a little bit. But I do like him.
So you're a Fairport Weather fan?
I don't even know that he was in that group. Is that the name of the group? Fairport Suite? Airport Suite. Weather Report Suite.
Yeah. I am a fan. I like Richard Thompson. I just saw a picture of him and Linda Thompson together for the first time in years.
Are they married?
They were 30 years ago, and they performed and recorded together as well.
Cool. Very cool. Where are you now? I don't know.
John Hand.
All right, you do it.
Now that Andy is brave enough to make yard calls, will he ever when you stop by my yard? And gawked, I think. Will he ever return to house calls? After Andy's apparition's triumphant return to State of the Industry address, seems like a good time to smoke a celebratory joint together. Plus, he could bring Josh's check.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be smoking a joint together because I almost it's like you're asking for it then.
I think so.
Richard Cole. Oh, do you have anything else to say?
Also, cooties.
Cooties. Richard Cole says, I smoke about a quarter ounce of pot a week. How much cannabis do you consume? Does angry Bob Dylan still like catching a buzz? I don't think I should put a number on how much I smoke.
Yeah, I'm not anxious to myself.
But does Bob Dylan like weed? Because that's one of his things.
No, it's for amateurs.
What do you mean? It's a psychotropic.
Yeah, well, I've moved on.
What do you do now?
Or rather, I moved beyond.
How about, what do you do currently? What kind of drugs?
My music is my drug. Also, several blood pressure and cholesterol.
It's bored. It's like bored Bob Dylan. Sleepy Bob Dylan. Okay, Jason Hedrick says, best movie so far this year? Gee, I can't answer that.
I honestly have no idea. I really don't.
I didn't like that movie that, what's his name? Paul Thomas Schmeckel did. Is that this year? What was the name of that movie?
I have no idea.
Everything with him is so precious, right?
Yeah.
All right. Eastside 76 says, in the last few years, whenever I find out someone famous is a Republican, or worse yet, a Trumper, I cut them off completely. I can't get past it. Am I the asshole for being this way? Should I be more open? Apologies and skip my comment if this is too political. No, I'm kind of with you. The only way you can not do it is if they're like your mother or your father and you're trying to save the relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I like to have a little bit of a bigger crack in my door. I think if you're a Trumper, that's a huge strike against you as a person at this point. You know, I could see how maybe you voted for him in 2016.
Maybe, right?
It's only a maybe because I think it was pretty clear he was,
fucked up.
It was, downright evil. But if you're a Republican, I can understand at least hold your nose and vote Republican. But if you voted for him a second time,
no, you're evil.
Well,
let's not
or stupid.
Let's be nice, Andy.
But I don't know. But because of my father's training of me, I can't just reject Republicans as evil out of hand, despite my desire to.
But if your dad saw them now, he would be like,
he would not be a Republican anymore, for sure.
Right.
100% he wouldn't. And I think that's probably true as of George Bush II.
And I know Gruber's dad, who passed, Norm, was like that.
Norm would not be a Trumper by any stretch of the imagination.
I remember when he went. I remember him telling me about how he used to be this way, and he just couldn't stomach it.
Yeah, no. Norm became a lefty before he died. Norm was an MSNBC watcher with Gruber before he died.
And the Republicanism that he was talking about was the northern,
Yeah, it was Eisenhower Republicans.
Yeah. I love that, Norm.
Norm was great.
What a sweetheart. Well, you want to take us home, Josh? Or
I
do you
will
have
take us
8?
home.
You don't have 8 long missives after this, do you?
No, because, oh man, is this long already. Chaotic Neutral says, hey, so I know a guy who says while working as a host in the 90s, he would sell joke suggestions and punch-up material to Passing Road comics. Both friends and enemies of Thought Spiral were named. Just wondering how common that was. I rarely sold stuff to people, but I endeared myself to a lot of comics by giving them jokes.
Right. Yes.
And there were several comics who would hire me as their feature because they'd end the week with a bunch more material.
Well, yeah, and
in return, I was getting paid by having a door open for me,
right?
Booking wise,
yeah. I think I just want to say this about that. What you said, right?
Yeah.
What you said. I can't remember what the question was,
but I did do that. I mean, when I opened for people, usually it was by the end of the week they'd have a handful of new jokes just because I had seen their act 5 times or 7 times.
Well, it also is a custom. If you will go get along with the person and you see something, you will. I mean, it's a can be a collegial atmosphere.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Josh,
but I don't know I don't know how you gracefully would charge somebody for those.
Yeah, it's very hard.
I have this idea. Oh, that's a good one. $100.
Well, the last time I actually was going to sell a joke, I didn't know if I was going to sell it to him. It was to Bill Sheft, because I came up with it and I realized, this won't work in my act. And it was the accounting firm, Jewish Chinese accounting firm, One Lump Sum.
Uh-huh.
And then a couple of days later, he said, my wife or somebody found this in a joke book or something, which I wasn't that surprised about.
But
I did come up with it on my own.
You weren't embarrassed or humiliated either?
No, because Bill Shep was kind of I get along with him now, but he was kind of like one of these guys who was, I'm a professional kind of a guy.
He was lording his Letterman-ness over you.
Yeah. No, he wasn't even Letterman. When I worked with him, we were talking about 1988, 89. He was like a fairly popular New York City comedian.
Right.
But he had all those, he had the New York, he goes, hey, next time, let me get this straight. I'm down south and they say you cook your own burger. Let me get this straight. One of those guys.
He was a bridge comic from the old school to the new school.
That's true. Do you know him?
I don't know him, no.
Oh.
I met him years ago, but not in any depth. I never worked with him.
Right. Well, Josh, if that's all I have so far.